The Lunar Leap. Think of the blue of the sky. There is a good scientific explanation for why the sky is blue. The sky is blue because light with a short wavelength, such as blue light with a wavelength of 450 nanometers, is more likely to be scattered by an air particle than is light with a longer wavelength, for example, red light with a wavelength of 600 nanometers. The reason the sky is blue is because it is full of blue photons bouncing back and forth between particles of air. The scientific explanation for why the sky is blue does not account for the quality of blueness that is the characteristic appearance of the sky as seen with human eyes. To human eyes, the blue of the sky appears nebulous and translucent. It looks insubstantial, as if it were a pure, non-objective colour. The technical term for colours like this is film colour. Yves Klein is best known for his monochrome paintings that he painted with a special paint invented by himself and named International Klein Blue. In fact, Klein not only painted in monochrome IKB, but also in monochrome pink and monochrome gold. The three colours together form a unique colour world that gives to Klein's work a strong sense of unity. What is special about Klein's paintings is the way he bound the paint as loosely as possible, leaving the pigments dry and fluffy, not wet and sticky, as is the case with oils. This is what gives his paintings their unique, powdery appearance. Klein is also known for his fantastic photograph of himself leaping from a building and appearing to fly through the air. It is captioned, "The painter of space leaps into the void." Dr. Watson Architects became interested in Klein's proposal for the architecture of the air. The key ingredient of Klein's air architecture is a transparent roof consisting of a layer of compressed air that gives direct visual access to the sky. The air roof forms a climatic barrier, sheltering places for human habitation without enclosing them. Klein imagined it would be deployed at various scales, ranging from a house, an urban district, to sheltering a whole city. Klein's proposal for the architecture of the air got Dr. Watson Architects thinking about the blue of the sky. They knew Klein was wrong to equate air with the void of space, but at the same time they themselves had no idea of the manner in which the Earth's atmosphere ceases to be sky and dissipates into space. In order to visualize the problem, DWA made a large cross-section through the sky. In gathering information for the section, they were surprised to find only a tiny portion of the sky, a zone in the order of 5 miles high, ascending from the surface of the Earth and named the troposphere, is breathable and subject to weather. Beyond that, matters are otherwise. The Lunar Leap. As they thought about the sky, DWA began work on a project called the Lunar Leap. It was a response to an architectural competition set in New York's Coney Island. The brief asked for the design of a pavilion to sit at the foot of the now unused parachute jump, a 262-foot tower of lattice ironwork from which intrepid pleasure seekers would drop 250 feet in seats made for two. The jump was closed in 1968 amid safety concerns, but the tower remained to become a city landmark. The ambition of DWA's Lunar Leap was to create a pavilion that not only satisfied all programmatic requirements, but also offered a place for citizens and visitors to celebrate Yves Klein's leap into the void. The dominant element of DWA's design was a cruciform gantry held 20 feet above the ground by 6 steel columns. Since the gantry was to appear as if floating, the 6 columns were designed to be as slender as possible, pushed to the limits of believability. The gantry would serve 4 functions. 1. Roofs and upper floors would be suspended from it. 2. Services would be accommodated in it. 3. Transformable glass screens would be suspended from it. And 4. It would house the mechanisms for opening and closing dividing screens between the restaurant, the internal event space, and the external event area. The subdivisions of the pavilion would be organised so that the restaurant, bar and internal event space could be used independently or in any combination according to the demands of particular user groups. Although the pavilion was designed to accommodate a variety of uses, its primary role was to stage an event. It was the event that gave the pavilion its name, the Lunar Leap. In order to facilitate the leap, the architects designed a special device to be housed in the gantry. You can work out the location of the device from the yellow pipes and ducts that service it. With the device in place, those faces of the gantry looking towards the external event area and parachute tower would be equipped with an array of 496 nozzles. When the device was switched on, the nozzles would project jets of coloured air, so tightly compressed that they would look like colour vectors. The nozzles would be organised so that the pattern of vectors would produce a colourful grid, appearing in the airspace just above the heads of citizens and visitors assembled in the external event area. The Lunar Leap would occur once a month at full moon, unfolding as follows. Visitors to the pavilion would gather in the outdoor event space. The device would be switched off and the visitors would be able to gaze upward towards the blossoming summit of the parachute tower, silhouetted against the deep blue ground of the night sky. The tower would be painted a glowing translucent white. In the daytime it would almost disappear, but at night, under the illumination of the full moon, or, in adverse weather conditions, the artificial illumination of a moon balloon, it would appear as a geometrical web of glowing white lines. As the visitors gaze up towards the summit of the tower, so a flotilla of tiny bodies would appear to leap from the top. The bodies would drop gracefully through the night air, limbs spread wide, embracing the exhilaration of free fall. The visitors watch as the bodies drop towards them, seeming to grow bigger as they plunge towards the earth. The visitors become agitated. They are half thrilled and half dismayed in anticipation of the impending impact. As the visitors reach the peak of emotional tension, so the device comes to life, with an enormous roar. And jets of coloured gas shoot out above their heads. Although rushing closer, the falling bodies are now much harder to discern, obscured by the gaseous vapours of the colourful grid. As the rush of gravity hurls the bodies into the grid of coloured gas, so all of a sudden they seem to vanish into soft puffs of air. For the visitors, the impact of falling bodies amounts to little more than the colourful turbulence of minor shock waves. The intense emotional thrill of the leap dissipates, diffused into soft colour vapour. The visitors too then begin to disperse, leaving the event. They feel satisfied, yet at the same time are fully aware they will never quite know what it was they had just seen.